Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you back to the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Make sure you check them out online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. Great to be with you on this Thursday because so many good things are happening right now with University of Alabama Athletics. We'll start to go through our headlines for today's show thanks to this interactive smartboard provided to us by RJ Young. They are the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. First of all, let's check what's coming up on the show today. We'll have all the highlights from last night's win against LSU. Not necessarily the game highlights. You won't see the dunks, you won't see the three-pointers, but you will see Chris Stewart, Brian Passink react to them from our Courtside Cam. Always a lot of fun during games live at Coleman Coliseum. We'll get to see those highlights coming up first. And then following the ball game, Chris Stewart was joined courtside by Jaden Shackelford. He led the way for Alabama with 26 points last night in the win against LSU. So we'll hear from Jaden Shackelford. And then we'll be talking with the newest and the latest national championship winning coach here at the University of Alabama, Jennifer Thrasher, as the Alabama all-girl cheerleading squad won the national championship on Sunday night in Orlando. We'll talk all about that with Jennifer coming up, and then we'll hear from Dana Duckworth, coach's checklist, taking a look at Alabama gymnastics as we are set for Alabama's first home gymnastics meet coming up tomorrow night at Coleman Coliseum against Kentucky. As we continue going through the headlines for today, we'll start with men's basketball. What fun we had last night. A thrilling victory over 13th ranked LSU. 70-67 was the final score as Alabama had a tough go of it making some shots down the stretch, but had great defense all throughout. Keon Ellis hit the big free throws at the end that sealed the win for Alabama 70-67. Crimson Tide continue playing well against LSU. That's now 5 straight wins for Alabama against LSU. Had this clean sweep last year 3 times and now already 1 time over Will Wade's team so far this year. Jaden Shackelford led the way with 26 points for the Crimson Tide. As I mentioned, we'll hear from him coming up in a few moments after our courtside highlights. And then Saturday, Alabama's got to snap back and try to defeat Missouri. 5 o'clock tip-off. Our radio airtime will be at 4 o'clock for the Crimson Tide and the Tigers. Alabama trying to avenge a loss to Missouri just a couple weeks ago in Columbia. So that's men's basketball. Taking a look at Crimson Tide women's basketball. Alabama home tonight against the Arkansas Razorbacks, an 8 p.m. tip-off inside Coleman Coliseum. We will have the broadcast for you across the radio network as well as our Courtside Cam on this Facebook page, so make sure you come on back at 8 o'clock for Alabama against Arkansas. As the Crimson Tide 10-7 in the league, or 10-7 overall, now 1-5 in the SEC. Alabama is in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. Arkansas, meanwhile, 11-6, and so far the Razorbacks picked to be near the top of the SEC, find themselves near the bottom, only 1-3 so far in conference play. Alabama trying to get a win tonight against Arkansas, and then the Crimson Tide will make the trip to Auburn. It's kind of crazy in both men's and women's basketball. All the Auburn games are kind of early in the season. Alabama in women's basketball defeated Auburn just a couple weeks ago. Now it's the trip to the Plains, 3 p.m. with the tip-off time, Alabama against Auburn. We will have that broadcast for you as well across the network. Now looking at some Alabama athletics news, some really good news, of course, coming up for some of these honors that we'll go through in a moment. But first, gymnastics, of course, coming up at home against the Kentucky Wildcats coming up at 6:30 tomorrow night. And that match will be televised on the SEC Network. Great news for Benedetta Moresco. She has been invited to Augusta National to the Women's Amateur Tournament. That is something new within the last few years at Augusta National. Now Alabama will be represented by Moresco, so congratulations to her and that invitation. I'm extremely jealous. Would love to play Augusta National at some point, and she will have that chance coming up later this spring. Also in swimming and diving, it'll be Derek Moss. He was named the men's SEC Swimmer of the Week. Ryan White, who continues to get awards left and right, even going back to the Olympics. Now she is the women's SEC Swimmer of the Week. And then Avery Wiseman is coming on very strong in her freshman season. Once again, named the women's SEC Freshman of the Week. So we love seeing those honors come in from Margot Gear's swimming and diving team. But now it's time to take a look at the Courtside Cam highlights from the LSU game. A thrilling victory inside Coleman Coliseum as Alabama continued its winning ways against LSU, and also the Crimson Tide ended a tough 3-game losing streak with the win. Here's a look at the Courtside Cam highlights. Again, you can watch the Courtside Cam for each and every Alabama men's and women's basketball home game. Take it away, Chris Stewart, Brian Passink, Tom Stipe.
Rebound, Gary on the backside, throws it out to Shaq. Drives, dishes, shoot it, baby. Oh, JQ gives it back to Shaq. He'll shoot the 3, bottom.
He knew what he was doing.
He did.
Smart decision. I also would have liked to see JQ take that shot. He had it, but was able to get it back to Shaq in a great start. for Jaden Shackelford. Knocked down 3 free throws to start the game and gets the 3 to go down.
As Quinterly thought about it from deep, now will drive. Played through contact, laid it in, got fouled. He'll go to the line for a chance at the and one. Quinterly with it, steps back, deep 3, bottom. Boy, that's a big make for the team, but also for Quinterly. Go to Shaq, right side, 5, 4, deep 3, bottom. Alabama takes the lead. Shaq, right side, into the corner, Miles, 3, bottom. Alabama looking good from beyond the arc. Finds Ellis, right corner, 3, bottom. Rattled it in on a great find from Noah Gurley.
Yeah, it's been a tough start for Noah. 0 for 2 from the line, 0 for 2 from the field, but that was a beautiful pass. Handled the double team that was coming from behind, but he recognized it, found the open shooter. No hesitation from Keon Ellis, and Alabama starting to knock down some perimeter jumpers.
Quinterly finds the right corner, Ellis, Shaq, deep 3.
Boy, he shot that with so much confidence, and it was about 4 steps off the line, and he knocks it down. This crowd starting to get into it.
JQ on the drive, tough shot, right hand. The quick release got it to go. Driving, stopping, looking, knocked away. Ellis into the hands, Bediako. Down to Davison, look out, lob pass, Gurley the flush.
Defense to offense, great job defensively. Alabama gets the deflection that starts the Bama break.
Somehow found Shaq, drives in, steps through, got it back, laid it up, went in. Dear Lord, it was like sausage being made. Ugly as all get out, but what a wonderful result, and Alabama leads by 3. Here's JQ front court for the Crimson Tide, trying to beat a top 15 team for the 3rd time. Right of the circle, it'll be Quinterly. Now driving the lane, Ellis, tough shot, count it, and he is fouled. Big bucket, Keon Ellis. Gets into the lane, spins, shoots. There's one, got it to go. Shaq knocks it home, Bama 60, LSU 58. 2 to Shaq in the corner at 1. No good, rebound, Gurley threw it home. Darius Miles went in, didn't get the rebound, but drew a Tiger away. That opened the lane for Gurley.
Well, if you're going to miss threes, you might as well attack the offensive glass. Couple of Bama players did it. Big play by the senior Gurley.
Keon Ellis at the line. Keon Ellis knocks down the free throw. I do indeed. Bama by 3. We'll see if the Tide does foul with 5.2 to go. Tigers will inbound, and Bama will go with full court pressure. They'll get it into Gaines. Gaines, defended by JQ. He'll let it fly. He'll miss it, and Alabama hangs on. Great win for Alabama. Held on, got it done. And yep, play the song. Whether it's 3 or 30, it's fun beating the purple and gold, and Alabama hangs on. A much-needed win against LSU here tonight.
Didn't matter how.
Nope.
Alabama needed a victory, and another top 25 victory for Alabama, their 4th of the season. And listen, Alabama gutted this out, made mistakes, shot it terribly in the second half, missed free throws. But because of the toughness they played with, were able to win the game, and Alabama desperately needed a victory, and didn't matter. Alabama got the dub, and it is a huge victory against a very good LSU team.
3 of 10 from beyond the arc, 9 of 11 from the free throw line. He had 4 rebounds, and he also did it defensively with 4 steals. He puts the headsets on and joins us now. Jaden Shackelford, congratulations on a great win and 26 points tonight.
Thank you.
I know that you couldn't coast down the stretch. It literally went to the final shot.
Yep.
But how sweet was this for this team in this circumstance?
Super sweet, man. You know, we put a lot of work in, you know, being on a 3-game losing streak. So we knew how big it was going into this game. You know, LSU had the best defense in the country. So, you know, it was just big for us to lock in and play defense ourselves. You know, we had to rebound the ball. So it just felt super good to, you know, pull this one away with the guys.
Tell me about the last 2 days in practice, what it was like.
Last 2 days, probably the 2 hardest days we practiced in a long, long time. You know, a lot of guys were stepping up, you know, doing blue-collar stuff. You know, that's what we need to win games. And, you know, 2 of the last 3 games, we've had our lowest 2 blue-collar games of the year. So, you know, it was just kind of rejuvenating and recalibrating and all that stuff. So 2 really, really good practices leading into this LSU game.
Coach Oates told everybody, if you're not playing tough, you're not playing hard, you're coming out. He wasn't playing around, was he?
Not at all, you know. Everybody has to be ready, you know. If you're not playing hard, then you can't be on the floor. So that's why Coach expects everybody to go on the floor and give 100% at all times, because if not, then we're not going to be able to win games.
It seemed different in the for this team
Absolutely.
tonight, was it?
Yes, 100%. I seen a fight that we haven't shown in a little while, you know. After that Gonzaga-Houston game, Houston was probably the last game we had that was really like this intense, you know. So I feel like it was good for us to kind of be in this situation again and actually pull one out.
He hadn't had a chance to celebrate in a while. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Appreciate
time.
it.
Appreciate you so much.
Yes,
Jaden Shackelford, the junior from Hesperia, California, absolutely huge for this Bama team. Goes for 26 in this one tonight. Played 38 minutes for the Crimson Tide as well, as Bama wins it by a final score of 70-67 here tonight at Coleman Coliseum. Great crowd, great energy, great effort, great win. Alabama, for the 4th time this year, beats a top 15 team, and hopefully this is one that we will point to later on as being a turning point for the Crimson Tide.
Some good times at Coleman Coliseum. Again, we always have the Courtside Cam for home games for Alabama basketball, whether that's men's basketball, women's basketball. We'll have it coming up later tonight live here on our Facebook page, so you can check that out for Alabama against Arkansas. Women's basketball, fun to relive those highlights from the last game against LSU, and hopefully the Crimson Tide men's team can continue their winning ways coming up on Saturday when they host Missouri at 5 o'clock. We'll have our coverage start on the radio at 4, and then again, the Courtside Cam available. If you want to relive all those moments live, you get to do that coming up this Saturday as well with men's basketball. You know, this is a championship school. Nate Oates said that last year when Alabama kept winning everything, it seemed like, especially early in the season. And this year, even though there have been a couple losses along the way, there was a big victory for the Crimson Tide on Sunday night. And that was at the National Cheerleading Awards and the competition for the championships down in Orlando at the ESPN Wide World of Sports. And Jennifer Thrasher is the director of the Spirit Squads here at the University of Alabama, and she joined us to talk about Alabama's all-girls squad winning the national championship in cheerleading. Also, some great moments along the way for Alabama Spirit Squads, including our good buddy, Big Al. So I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation with the newest national champion coach at the capstone, that is Jennifer Thrasher. I'm pleased to be joined by a national championship winning coach at the University of Alabama. No, it's not Coach Saban today. We're talking with Jennifer Thrasher, the director of Spirit Programs here at the capstone. And Jennifer, congratulations on Alabama's most recent national championship. How's everything going?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy to be here. It's great. It's great. We had some top finishes from our entire program. Our dance team coming in 6th. That's their highest finish in the jazz competition, and then our co-ed team finished 2nd to the University of South Florida, and then our all-girl team won their 3rd national championship. So very exciting times.
Very good week for the Crimson Tide down in Orlando. And I think a lot of our fans see, of course, the Spirit Squads at Bryant-Denny Stadium or at Coleman Coliseum cheering on the athletic teams. But what can you tell us about the work all throughout the fall leading up to this event in the beginning of January?
You're exactly right. It really, the grind, we call it, kind of starts in November. We call it No Sleep November, where it's really, we're balancing volleyball and then women's and men's basketball as well. And we're still cheering football games, home and away. And then also, you know, our nationals grind is just, it's really ramping up there. So that is something that I think our calendar in November, there's never a day except for Thanksgiving that we don't have something. So they do get that day off, and then it goes into Christmas. It's a tough time to be preparing, but you know, they don't get many days off, but they know that coming into our program that it's going to be like October, November, December. It's really tough. And we don't have a lot of time off. And then January obviously is the competition. So it starts in the summer when we have tryouts usually around May. Now, it's been different the past 2 years because of COVID. We've done this online, which has been a whole new challenge in itself. But it's worked, and we're, happy to be bringing back a national championship.
Well, it's really exciting. And we mentioned as well, the grind of getting ready for football games. You had a football game just last Monday in Indianapolis. What can you tell us about the
Right.
week between Indianapolis and getting your teams down to Orlando to compete?
It's all such a blur right now. We went from basically the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, came right back on the 26th of December, practiced as much as we could, and left on the 29th. Came back and had like 6 days before we left for Indianapolis. Practiced during that time. And then it's also a challenge because we have, between co-ed and all-girl team, we take a combination of teams to these bowl games. It's based on seniority. So our juniors and seniors are traveling to these games. And so we can't truly do a nationals practice for each team. So we're losing a few days there. And then after the Cotton Bowl, we battled some COVID issues, took a very small team to Indianapolis, came back, and honestly did not know until Wednesday, before we flew out on Friday, with COVID testing, if it was going to work for us to be able to compete. So it's been kind of a whirlwind and really hard to believe.
Well, once you got there, some really great results. So the all-girl squad was able to pick up the national championship. What were the judges looking for in their routine, and what are you most proud of that they were able to accomplish in order to win that national championship?
Goodness. Well, I'm proud of their fight. Just, they really had great attitudes going into it. They get one shot. So the way it works, they compete on Saturday for the semifinals. And then Sunday is the finals, but your scores are thrown away. So you get that one shot when you go out on the mat. So I think just putting everything aside, the hard work, and being able to focus and have fun and really showcase all of that hard work of the last few months, is what we really tried to tell them to do, is go out and just have fun, showcasing what they can do. So it's been a tough few months, but to be able to go out and have a successful performance, for sure, it's all worth it.
And then the co-ed squad finished second, and also the dance team finished sixth. What do you like about those routines and how those
Right.
student athletes competed?
Yeah, our dance team, that is, like I said, their best finished, and those athletes are just phenomenal young ladies. They represent Alabama in such a great way, as does all of our teams. And then our co-ed team, they put out a great routine also. University of South Florida also did. They had a routine that hit. So we weren't sure how that would finish up, but, hats off to them for winning. And we'll be back to try to win that championship again next year.
Well, we look forward to that, and I'm sure all the buzz Sunday night learning that news, Alabama wins a national championship, is always a big deal. But for the Spirit squads, there's such a huge alumni base and a lot of people who are being very successful in all walks of life. I'm sure that was very gratifying to hear from so many, not only Alabama fans, but especially Spirit squad alumni.
It was, for sure. We have group meets and things with all of our alumni. We typically do sort of an alumni game every year, but we haven't done that because of COVID the last couple of years. So, but that's the beauty of social media, being able to keep up with everyone. And they were all so proud. The all-girl team started in 2011. It hasn't been around that long. And so their first year to compete was 2014. And then they've won 3 times since, in 2015, 2020, and then here in 2022. We did not compete as an entire program in 2021. So we sort of feel like it's a back-to-back championship, but didn't compete last year with just because of COVID. So, but our alumni is great, so supportive, and we always tell the kids in the program it's so much bigger than you realize. It's all the people that came before you and all the people that are going to come after you. So there's just so much to be proud of, and that pride of wearing that A on their chest.
And overall, looking at Alabama's Spirit squads, how do you balance the great tradition that we have? Because obviously there are a lot of cheers that go back to the Legion Field days and back even to Coach Bryant's days, or even before, plus trying to keep things kind of new and cutting edge at the same time. How do you try and balance those two things?
Well, I cheered at Legion Field, so it has come a long way, just of trying to get through traffic in Birmingham to get to those games. But, I think that's one thing, that we do keep the traditional cheers. Our football game days have so many things. There are so many band cheers. Our fight song is the exact same as when I was here, how we did it. So we do want to keep those traditional things. I mean, it goes all the way to our uniforms. We're very traditional in that regard, but with skills, they've come so far with what these kids do. And I think a big part of that is, you know, the all-star cheerleading world. That's a big thing out there that wasn't 20 or 30 years ago. So they really focus on skills, but these kids come in every year able to do more and more. So it really is, it's amazing just the improvements over the years of what these kids do and just the skills that we never would have thought to try years ago.
One of the things that's changed as well, all the different outfits that Big Al, our great mascot, gets to wear throughout the ball
Yes.
games. And that kind of made some national news this past October when the Ole Miss Rebels were in town, as Lane Kiffin told the people watching at home to get their popcorn
That's
ready.
right.
And Big Al in the second half brought the popcorn. What can you tell us about that day?
That is right. So we had that, Big Al had that popcorn costume and had worn it before at a basketball game and even at a COVID game last year. So, you know, last year we were in the stands at football games and it was looked a little bit different. We didn't have the entire program and he wore it. I don't think it was as visible as it was this year, but we did not know about that pregame interview. And someone in marketing texted me and asked if I knew about it, and I did not. And then Emily Spiller in our office, she made a little run over to Coleman and came back. And next thing I know, Big Al had it on, and it was great. So we didn't really realize until we were all walking to our cars how that kind of would take off. So I think some of the tweets were very funny. Very funny about it. And so, yeah, Big Al, he did a good job with his costumes this year, really at every game, but that popcorn was hard to beat.
How many costumes does Big Al have ready to go? We always see him in the football jersey or the basketball jersey, but in addition to that, how much does he have ready for the moments like that?
Yeah, you know, he usually does. He tries to be in his jersey, but then 2 or 3 things for each game. Around Halloween, he'll have some Halloween costumes and just kind of what's going on in the world. Like I said, we didn't have that popcorn at the Ole Miss game, but it was back at Coleman for basketball, and so it all worked out. Everything lined up that day.
Well, that's really exciting for you guys. What's next? Obviously, we got a lot of basketball games coming up, but what are you all focused on for your next steps? So trying to continue this great run of success that
Right.
Alabama Spirit programs have had.
Well, we'll start back with our workouts, and shout out to Michelle Diltz. I mean, she's our kind of head strength coach and tailors all of their workouts. And I don't think people realize, you know, Michelle comes to our practices and sees what these kids do on a daily basis. So she knows how to tailor those workouts to really get them doing the right things. It's not just to go and work out. So, but we'll start those back in February, the first week of February. And then we'll go from there with basketball, finishing basketball. We'll travel with SEC tournament for both men's and women's, have gymnastics meets. I know we have 4 events starting tonight with men's basketball, women's tomorrow, gymnastics Friday, and then another men's game on Saturday. So come back and pretty busy. And then the kids are back in school also. So really just the spring sports, and then we'll have tryouts and start preparing the same way that the cycle continues. And then we also have summer cheer camps all summer at the Capstone. We have not been able to have for 2 years because of COVID. So I'm ready to stop saying because of COVID, but lots of things. Yeah. Lots of things that have been different over the last 2 years. So we're really happy to have some normalcy.
Yeah, and before we let you go, I did want you to talk just for a moment about the tryout process, especially if any high school students who are watching this that maybe want to get involved with Alabama Spirit Squad. So what do they need to do? What are some things to keep in mind before the tryout process?
Yeah, so we post online kind of what the minimum skill requirements are. We have clinics every 3 or 4 months where you can kind of come and feel like you're an Alabama cheerleader for a day, meet our current athletes, and just sort of see what we do. And then we're looking for obviously great talent, but we're looking for great ambassadors and great leaders that can represent the university in a positive way. It's very important to me that we find kind of that overall kid that's going to be very skilled, that can compete for us, but also who we want to put on the field or on the court or, at a gymnastics meet to represent the university or go to an alumni event. These kids do so much with appearances and birthday parties and you name it, in addition to, I think I counted up 84 home events that we cheer each year, in addition to competing nationally and all the other fun stuff.
Well, Jennifer Thrasher, there's a lot to be proud of for Alabama Spirit Squads. Congratulations on winning the national championship for the all-girl national championship run that you all had on Sunday. Just congratulations, and thank you for joining us again. Roll Tide.
Thank you, Roger. Roll Tide.
Congratulations to Alabama cheerleading on the national championship. A big thank you to Jennifer Thrasher for spending some time with us and talking about not only that national championship, but I loved hearing about Big Al and also what the Spirit Squads are going to be doing moving forward. And that's really exciting to see their success here at Alabama. Well, the team we're really glad is back in Alabama and getting to compete inside Coleman Coliseum on Friday night is Alabama Gymnastics Dana Duckworth, who joined us earlier in the week on Hey Coach and also on Crimson Drive. She met with the media yesterday to detail what's coming up for Alabama on Friday night at home against Kentucky. Here's Coach's checklist for Alabama Gymnastics as we get ready for the home opener at Coleman Coliseum tomorrow.
I saw a group of competitors that were extremely focused, and we asked them to share their passion for the sport, to be very persistent and not give up, fight for every single tenth, and really try to be precise. So what's been great is they're hungry for more, and they really do want to maximize their potential. So there's a energy that's in this team that's extra special, and they have not even seen their best, and that's what's keeping them driving forward, moving forward, and looking for our next step, and certainly excited to be starting our home stretch in Coleman Coliseum because there's nothing like competing in front of your home crowd. My message to the students of the University of Alabama is if you want to be a difference maker, your energy, your passion, and what you bring to Coleman Coliseum, it impacts the judges. It helps our athletes just even strive for more because they are as excited as you are to watch them. And I think that the sport has so many life lessons for even the person in the stands, right? You see a mistake, you have them recover. You see something great, you applaud and celebrate the hard work. And so the students really have a huge advantage because it's an amazing sport. It's free. They can get in there without a cost, and no student is going to be turned away. So even if we hit whatever the max is in the student section, they know that the tickets are going to grow, and we're going to get them in there. And so again, bring the energy, bring their fun. And what I love about the students is bring yourself. Be bold, be brave, be you, and come support this amazing team. Each week, that is the goal, Katie. We want to continue to get better. And I think, well, there's no thinking. I mean, we're really starting against OU, a super competitive team that has won national championships, and then moving over to the SEC and being in Florida. The ladies got to get a little rust off the competitive spirit, right? Because they hadn't competed in over a year. And this only sets us up to make more improvements. So the focus is there, the precision is there, and falling short of our actual goal as far as what we really wanted to accomplish because we didn't hit some landings, we're focused on one thing this week, improving the landings. If we do that, our score will get better and our performance will improve.
Good luck to Coach Duckworth and Alabama Gymnastics. The home opener at Coleman Coliseum set for tomorrow night, 6:30 on the SEC Network. That's on television. How about on the radio? How about on the CTSN social media channels? Let's take a look at our Crimson Tide Sports Network schedule for this upcoming weekend. Well, we will get it going with what's coming up later tonight inside Coleman Coliseum as Alabama is home for women's basketball against the Arkansas Razorbacks. 8 o'clock tip-off on the radio, and we'll also have the Courtside Cam available as well right back here on our Facebook page. Again, no broadcast tomorrow of gymnastics, but again, make sure you watch them at 6:30 on the SEC Network. And then Saturday, we're going to be back inside Coleman Coliseum. It's been a great place to be this week, and hopefully the men's basketball team can continue its winning ways against the Missouri Tigers. 5 o'clock tip-off will hit the radio at 4 o'clock upstairs at Stipes Lounge, presented by Royal Furniture on the concourse as you come into Coleman Coliseum. So we're looking forward to that on Saturday. Sunday, I'll be hitting the road, going down to Auburn Arena, getting set for women's basketball against the Auburn Tigers, a 3 p.m. tip-off between Alabama and Auburn on the radio. And then we'll be back on Monday with Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Alabama head coach Nate Oates. I believe we're going to have Patrick Murphy join us for the first half hour of that show, talking some Alabama softball. May be wrong on that, but I believe it is Coach Murphy coming up next Monday. I know for sure we will have it across the radio, the Varsity Network app, plus streaming live the video version right here on the CTSN Facebook page. It's going to wrap up this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Make sure you check them out at TuscaloosaToyota.com today. Got to say a big thank you to Jennifer Thrasher for joining us, talking Alabama's cheerleading national championship. Thanks as well to Chris Stewart, Brian Passing, all the fun that those guys had with the Courtside Cam highlights. Jaden Shackelford joining Chris after the ball game, as well as Dana Duckworth for Coach's Checklist. Another great show, and now we're ready for a big weekend for Alabama athletics, starting later this evening against the Arkansas Razorbacks in women's basketball. Hope you can join us at 8 o'clock tonight. Big thanks to our producer, Ethan Carabin, for putting this show together, and thanks to all of you for watching. This has been Roger Hoover saying thank you, good afternoon, and roll tide. Thanks for watching Crimson Drive.